Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Delaware County, also called the Media Unitarian Universalist Church informally. It's good to have everyone here, and if you're a visitor, I want to extend a special welcome. It's good to have you at our service today. If you're viewing the service on Zoom, please remember you can activate closed captioning if that's helpful to you, so you can read along. And if you'd like to talk with others after the service on Zoom, there'll be a virtual coffee hour. Just stay logged in, and you'll be invited to a breakout room. Of course, if you're attending worship in person, we invite you to join coffee hour after the service. This Sunday is a special Sunday service wherein worship will be experienced through music. We will follow our basic Sunday morning order of service, highlighting each element with music from our choir. Our morning song was offered as a choral prelude. Our chalice lighting selection calls us to be enlightened. Bridge over troubled water offers our communal support for those bearing joys and concerns. Our offering reminds us that the Spirit of God works through us when we share with the needy. Our Time for All Ages selection, the Garden Song, speaks of planting seeds, of regeneration, of spring. A responsive reading charges us all to be music makers. Bob will offer insight on the sermon portion later. As this is a worship service, not a performance, we wish to maintain a worshipful atmosphere and invite you to refrain from applause until called for later at the end of the service to acknowledge the choir's contribution this morning. I invite you all to stand and sing a hymn of praise within our music, number 36, but it's going to be on the screen and it is in the order of service within our music.
Devora Gabriel Johnson and Jaden Gutierrez have agreed to light our chalice as we remain standing for the recitation of our covenant. Enriched by our differences and joined together in our search for meaning, we covenant with ourselves and each other to seek truth in the spirit of love, to strive for justice, and to serve others with a joyful heart. Please.
Each Sunday, we come carrying our joys and our sorrows with us. At this time in the service, you are invited to drop a stone to represent those joys and sorrows. As the stone sends ripples through the water, so our joys and sorrows send ripples through our community and can be held together. I invite you to come up along the side and then go back through the center. Just watch out for the microphone stands as you do so. While we share our joys and sorrows, our choir will be singing Bridge Over Troubled Water. I will drop one final stone for the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts and those expressed by our friends on Zoom.
The knife was off.
The prayer is a short poem by Edward Cummings, whose father was a Unitarian minister in Cambridge, Massachusetts for many years. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping green spirits of trees, and the blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life, and of love and wings, and of the gay, great, happening, illuminable earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any, lifted from the know of all nothing, human, merely being, doubt, unimaginable you, Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are open. Amen.
Our congregation is entirely self-governed and financially supported by the voluntary generosity of our friends and members. To this end, we have an offering to sustain the work of the church. Once upon a time, most folks put their money in the communion platter, or the offering plate. Nowadays, you can text your donation at the number provided on the screen, or if you would prefer, we have donation boxes at the back of the sanctuary. Thank you.
Good morning. So raise your hand if you have planted a garden. Raise your hand, keep your hand up if you are someone who plants a garden every year, or almost every year. I think we have a lot of gardeners at UUCDC. That's wonderful. You can put your hands down now. I like to garden too. I plant a garden every year, as many years as I can. What kinds of things do we need to make a garden grow? What do you need for a garden? You can just yell them out. Okay, cool, cool. Wait, I heard a lot of things. I heard seeds, I heard soil, I heard sun. What else do we need? Water, air, okay, what else? I'm gonna get back to that. You're jumping ahead of me. What else do we need to make a garden grow? Shovel, space, we need some land, we need tools. Okay, good. And Lisa jumped ahead because she said we need patience. And that is so true. If you've ever planted a garden, you know that you put the seeds or the plants in the ground, and then you just have to wait. And maybe if you're growing flowers, you don't have to wait so long, but if you're growing tomatoes or pumpkins, you have to wait a really long time. And in that time that you're waiting so patiently, you also have to do so much work. You have to protect your plants. You have to make sure that they get the water and the sunlight. You have to make sure that the deer don't come and eat them, or the bunny rabbits, or the bugs. You have to find ways to take care of these plants. And you have to wait a long time. You have to be patient. And you need one more thing. You need trust. Trust, because sometimes when we plant stuff, it doesn't grow. Or maybe it'll grow, maybe we'll have a tomato plant that produces a couple of tomatoes, but no more than that, just a couple. We have to trust that the things that we're doing, that the earth and the sun and the rain is going to come, that there's not going to be a catastrophe. For gardening, we need all of those things that you said, water and sun and tools and seeds, and we need patience and we need trust. Our choir is going to sing a song about that, and that is going to be the rest of our Time for All Ages. When they are finished, Joy will play our sending song, and we will sing it together, and then our children and teachers will go to their RE classes.
Please remain seated and join me in our responsive reading at the back of your order of service from Ode by Arthur O'Shaughnessy. We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Wandering by lone sea breakers and sitting by desolate streams.
World losers and world forsakers, on whom the pale moon gleams.
Yet we are the movers and shakers of the world forever, it seems.
A breath of our inspiration is the life of each generation.
A wonderful our dreaming unearthly impossible seeming.
The soldier, the monarch, and peasant are working together as one.
Till our dreams shall become their present, and their work in the world is done.
All hail, we cry to the comers from dazzling unknown shore.
Bring us hither your sun and your summers, and renew our world as of yore.
You shall teach us your song's new numbers, and things that we dreamed not before.
Yea, in spite of the dreamer slumbers, and the singer sings no more.
Good morning. It's a good sign you're still with us. For those of you whose boomer alerts went off when you perused the selection of music to be sung this morning, you do have that app, don't you? I hasten to inform you that the most insightful texts you're hearing this morning are by songwriters who were in their 20s. Paul Simon, whom we heard from in Bridge Over Troubled Water, was 29. And incidentally, this question came up, the reference to Silver Girl in that last verse is a reference to his then wife, Peggy Harper, who at 29 was distressed because she'd found three silver hairs in her head. So her pet name became Silver Girl. But that sets us up for speaking of the passage of time. Joni Mitchell was between the ages of 22 and 26 when she penned the three works to which we now turn our attention. These are works that speak to us of reflection on the past and perspectives gleaned from lessons learned through the passage of time. Uncanny, perhaps, that this much wisdom came from her at such a young age, but that's why she's Joni Mitchell and we're not. I've thought much about these themes recently and deemed them timely, no pun intended, I'm sure none taken. For one, I feel that the last 3 years of relative solitary confinement have profoundly altered our perception of the passage of time. I know that's happened to me. And second, because the challenges we currently face in this transitional period that we experience in the life of this congregation. Joni Mitchell's iconic Circle Game needs little introduction or explanation as it traces a youth's development from early childhood to the threshold of young adulthood. The seasons keep revolving around and even seem to pick up speed. Or as Joni says, you want to drag your feet to slow the circles down on the carousel of life. We can't return. We can only look back from whence we came. And with confidence built on what we faced before, we can face the future and enjoy the ride round and around. We're reassured ultimately by the predictable circular nature of life, but there's no getting around the fact that we experience loss. It's one reason why we look back, of course. The great irony we're presented with Joni's Big Yellow Taxi is the fact that we don't fully appreciate the intrinsic value of anything until we experience the void left in its absence. A paradise replaced by a parking lot. This playful tune reminds us of this as it references ecological concerns of, 50 years ago that surprisingly are still with us today. And she muses on the ending of a relationship, the quality of which seems to have improved through its retreating reflection in the rearview mirror. Let's listen to these two before I give you more to think about for the last one, or before the choir nods off.
Too late. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? That you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They ain't paradise and that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They ain't paradise and give me some on my apple, give me the birds and the bees, the that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They ain't paradise and late last night, I heard the screen door slam. She heard the screen door. Whoa, what was that for? A big yellow taxi. Took away her old man. That you don't know what you've got till it's gone. They ain't paradise, love, and they paradise, Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Marvelous imagery, don't you think? Both sides now. Well, not right now. Here's a piece that has much more to say than we usually give it credit for. As I look at it, Joni considers clouds and then uses them as a metaphor for examining love and life. From the dreamy introduction you'll hear in the piano and the interludes between the verses, we first lazily observe cloud formations, defining them in fantastical, idealized forms, before we realize that, on the other hand, they block the sun, they bring rain, snow on everyone, and generally get in our way. So too with love and life. First the romance, the fantasy, then a rude awakening to the challenges in both. She looks at both sides and still doesn't know clouds, love, or life. Where's the logic? Now here I gently propose to a congregation steeped in rationalist thought and scientific method that not everything is subject to be analyzed and processed in a way that can become fully comprehended in any rational way. Mitchell flatly states that she doesn't know clouds, life, or love, or maybe can't process the duality of them. She looks at them from both sides now in her life. She has lost, she has gained, and she ultimately takes a different path from that of knowing. She chooses not to be intellectually confused or to be burdened by the weight of her negative experiences. It's clouds' illusions she recalls. It's love's illusions. Life's illusions, she recalls. She chooses to hope, to dream, to, dare I say it, to sing, as we do. And just as the hazy postlude of the song unwinds, the mists are dispelled, and the piano resolves up on a positive, hopeful C major chord.
I've looked at life from both sides now, from give and
I'd like all of us to acknowledge the efforts of Bob, Joy, and the choir in offering a round of applause. If you live locally and you're watching on Zoom, there is time to come and hear the second service live in the sanctuary. I invite you to do so. Let's conclude our service with the extinguishing of the chalice as the choir exhorts us to carry this little light from here and spread it throughout the world. We will then continue with a special benediction. I invite you to stand as you're able to do so and join in the closing words of benediction on the screen. May the rhythms of our coming together, the melodies of our worship, and the harmonies of our farewells soothe our spirit and uplift our soul this day and in the days to come. Amen. This concludes our service. Thank you all, and I invite you to join us for coffee.